What's up, everyone? Kevin Oak here. Wanted to get into another quick video. Obviously not a training video, not a story time video. I wanted to make a quick kind of, bullet point. This is what you should do when you're at competitions. This is what you should do leading up, really quick. Just a quick guide as to like how to successfully complete a powerlifting competition. So I actually made bullet points this time. I'll show you guys. You can't see it, but I made bullet points, so this won't be like 20 minutes long. I'm going to make this as quick as possible, but just getting into it, let me start with beforehand, what should you be doing? So me personally, how I go about things leading up to a competition, especially for squats, because squats are first in competition. Squats where you're going to be the most nervous. Squats where you're kind of like, that's how you're entering the competition. That's what's setting you up for the rest of the day. So in terms of things you're doing ahead of time, you want to be doing the same exact warm-ups and hitting the same numbers in your warm-ups in your training sessions as you're going to be doing the day of the meet. To me, that's very obvious. That's something I always did. I never really thought about it. It just seemed like the logical thing to do preparation-wise. But I do see a lot of people not do that. So, for instance, when I'm training, once I'm about, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks out, most of my squat sessions are going to be pretty heavy, right? Like I'm 6 weeks out this week. I hit 727 by 4, right? So ideally, my competition coming up, my attempts are going to be something like, like 770, 800, 830-ish. Like, that's where I would be. So if I'm hitting 727 in training, more than likely that's going to be around my last warm-up in competition. So I can hit the same exact numbers that I'm going to be hitting in competition, what I'm trying to say. But it took me like 5 minutes. But basically, the same exact numbers I hit on all of my warm-ups, I want to consistently be doing that. That way when I get to the competition, I feel exactly how I always feel, right? I feel great when I'm training normally. I want competition to almost feel like the same exact way I feel when I'm training. If you get to the competition and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what your warm-up numbers are going to be, it's just going to add to all the chaos of what's going on. It's going to make you less confident. You may run out of time. Another thing with the warm-ups is knowing how long it takes you to do your warm-ups. Like, I know exactly how long it takes me to do my warm-ups. My last 2 or 3 weeks, I'll actually keep my eye on the time to make sure it takes about how long I think it's supposed to take, just so I know that I can be in that rhythm. So once I get to a competition, once the plate's going for that first warm-up, I know, right? If I'm in the second flight and I know a flight takes about 45 minutes, boom, I know exactly how long it's to take me to warm up. I'm good to go. I'm confident. I can do what I need to do. I'm prepared, right? So generally beforehand, you want to be hitting the same exact warm-up numbers that you're going to be hitting in the competition. You're going to do it consistently, so you're going to be prepared, you're going to be confident. Another thing, this is more of a week of thing. Now, it could get a little off if you're cutting a lot of weight, but generally if you're not doing a huge weight cut, you want to keep everything that you've been doing the same, which kind of goes back to the warm-ups, right? You want to eat the same foods that you've been eating. If you're cutting weight, you may have to be using less salt or something because you're trying to shed water, right? But, if you're eating beef and rice every day, the last week before competition, you don't want to start eating a bunch of candy or something like that, right? If you're eating, if you eat beef and rice every day or you eat chicken, whatever your diet is, day of the competition, you don't want to start just eating a bunch of candy or a bunch of this, that stuff, a bunch of junk food, if that's not what you always eat. That's something that, again, I see people do that I never understood. It's not something I would do because that's just not how I think. But you want to be doing exactly what you've been doing all of prep. All of prep, what are you doing? You're prepping for the meet. So you want to do the same things in prep that you're going to do on the platform. That goes for mobility. That goes for things that you do normally. If you normally are an active person, you don't want to all of a sudden just be at home all week the day before prep because you're going to feel stiff. You're actually going to feel tired. You know what I mean? You do want to try to sleep a bit more, but you can't go from sleeping like 5 hours a night or something like that to the other extreme of like, you know, sleeping 10 hours a night or something like that. You have to stay fairly consistent in your lifestyle leading up to the meet. So let's get into like what you should be doing the day of. Know your warm-ups ahead of time, like I said. Something big that happens, right? You get there, you're buddy with everybody, everybody's getting along, right? And you'll know what you want to warm up with, but someone else will be doing a different way. You're like, oh, I'm just going to do this way, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Do not do that. You have your plan. Everyone else has their plans. You got to hit the weights that you're supposed to hit. Now, if it's like 5-10 pounds, right? Say you're opening like 300 pounds on squat, right? If it's like 10 pounds difference on a warm-up, fine, of course. You just do it if that's what the person did. But, in general, you want to be hitting the exact numbers that you've been hitting so you feel exactly how you felt and you're prepared for what you need to do. So, what else? General things. Get to the venue early. Know what flight you're in. Know how many people are in each flight. That's a big one, right? Because if you only have 8 people on the flight, you need to know, all right, there's going to be about 8 to 10 minutes in between my attempts. That's crucial, right? If you're doing squats in a knee wrap flight and there's 15 people on the flight, well, it's probably going to be like, 20 or 20 plus minutes between each of your attempts. So that's something you have to know. That's something you have to know in terms of what you're doing in between each attempt. Are you someone who likes to sit down between your attempts and kind of relax for a minute and then you kind of get hyped again? Like, you have to know all these little things. That way you just feel more comfortable and you're ready to go. The more you know, the better you're going to feel. You don't want to be in a situation, right, where you don't know how long there is between attempts and you're like, oh, I have to pee real quick. You go to the bathroom and then they're calling your name on the platform, right? It's little things like that, which should be kind of obvious, but just know these things. This is a big one. Watch what the judges are doing, right? So if you're not in the first flight, if you're in the first flight, obviously you can't really tell. I mean, you could still watch the first 1 or 2 lifters, assuming you're not the first lifter in the first flight. But you want to watch what the judges are doing, especially the head judge, right? You want to watch how they're calling it, how they're timing certain things, because we're human and we're going to do certain things the same way over and over, basically, right? So if you see in the first flight that the head judge is waiting like 5 seconds or something, when the person walks out their squat, the judge is waiting like a really long time to give them the start command or something, right? If you know that and you're in rhythm with that already, once you're up there and you're under the bar, it's not going to throw you off because you're going to already know, like, oh, this judge is going to wait 5 seconds, right? On bench press, if you notice that the guy's waiting, if guy or girl is taking, 5 seconds to give the rack command or something, as long as you saw that ahead of time, cool. You know that now, right? It won't throw you off. It won't be a surprise. In general, in terms of things, in terms of being on the platform, this is, to me, is something that is extremely crucial and extremely key. How you carry yourself, your confidence, and I don't mean arrogance, I just mean your confidence, what you exude is very important, right? So, I'll tell you what I do and then I'll kind of explain it, right? So, I usually wait until the bar is loaded, which you're supposed to do before I go on the platform. I'm usually right next to the platform. Now, when I'm in the back, I may get really hyped, but usually when I'm like right near the platform, I'm not going to be acting like too crazy because you don't want to like put that energy out there. The judges see you acting crazy and kind of chaotic, it's going to make them kind of act. It's going to make them feel kind of chaotic and on edge, right? You want the judges to be like relaxed. You want the judges to look at you, make eye contact, see that you're one of the people that knows what they're doing. You're not the guy that's going to like throw the bar. You're not the person that's going to run off and like all that crazy shit, right? You want the judges to look at you and notice like, all right, this person, they look like they know what they're doing. Okay, like that'll put them at ease. That'll have them relax a little bit. That'll have them kind of sit back in their chair instead of like leaning forward, like really staring at you. You know what I mean? And those little things matter because yes, it should be, you know, if you squat to depth, you get white lights. If it's high, you get red lights. But there's also a lot of middle ground, right? There's also, it could be a very close squat. If it's a very close squat and you were the person who like came up all crazy and all that shit and blah, 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 well, then maybe they're going to call you for like uneven lockout or something. Or maybe they're going to say you had down one, you know what I mean? Like those little things can make a huge difference at that point on the platform. So me, I come up, I try to make eye contact, maybe not in like a weird way, not excessively long, but like I usually give like a head nod to say like, are you guys ready? They, you know, communicate to me in some way, whether they say it, whether they give me a head nod, like we're ready, that puts them at ease, right? I then get under the bar. Usually I lift the bar up. I stand there for a second or two so that the spotters aren't crazy. No one's like wondering what I'm about to do. Everybody's confident that I know what I'm doing. Everybody's ready for what's about to happen, right? I then will take, you know, however many steps back I have to take for a squat. But I'll make sure I do it in a way that I don't look like I'm about to die, hopefully. And either way, once I'm into my stance, I'm going to really wait for a couple seconds. I'm not going to like look like I'm crazy and try to get this over with as soon as possible. Like I'm going to look like I know what I'm doing. Once the judge gives me the start commands, I'll usually take a deep breath. Again, I'll look under control, go down and up, do the squat. The judge will give the rack commands. And usually this is very important. Usually I wait for the spotters to grab the bar and walking in as opposed to me starting to walk with it, just because that could be something else like potentially that they red light you for in some way. Like you don't want to give them any reasons to red light you basically. So the more things you put in their hands instead of your hands, or I don't know if that's really the right way to say it, but the more things that you do, like if you wait for them to take the bar, they can't really red light you for certain things, you know what I mean? But in general, what else? Bench press, very similar thing. Usually someone's gonna give you a handoff. That person has to get out of the way. So you have to be able to hold the bar for quite a few seconds before you start. Once you do start, it's still the same thing. Like you want to approach the platform under control, confident. You don't want to be going too crazy like in front of the judges. If you're doing that in the back, cool. But in front of the actual judges, you want to look like you know what the fuck you're doing. You don't want to look like some idiot who this is their first meet, who's going crazy, who might drop the bar or something. Like you want to look like you know what you're doing. It'll put everyone at ease. It'll make them not look as close at things. Because really, at the end of the day, for the most part, how do you put this? For the most part, judges are going to white light you as long as you're not like doing something wrong. So the more things they see you doing right, including walking up to the bar, like all those things that they see you doing right, they're gonna have it in their head subconsciously, like, all right, he's doing this right, doing this right, doing this right, bench press right, rack right, cool, all right, done, white light, cool, he's out. That's what you want. You don't want to like approach the platform looking all crazy, because then subconsciously it's like, that's wrong, it's getting down wrong, this person's crazy, oh, they're probably gonna drop the red light. That's really how it goes. It's subconscious. You can argue it, you can say that's not fair, you could say, you know, if you want to go that route, cool. I would rather just do things the way that I know work so that I can get the result that I want. Deadlift, same thing. You're probably going to have to hype yourself up more in deadlifts in general just because it's at the end of the meet. You're tired, right? But same thing. You got to approach the platform confident. You can exude a lot of energy. I'm not saying like don't be hype. I'm just saying don't look like you're about to like, you know, trip over your feet. Like look like you belong. Look like you know you're supposed to do there. Everyone's gonna be tired at that point. Spotters and loaders, well, just loaders on deadlift are gonna be tired. may take them a little longer. Usually in deadlifts, it takes a little longer for them to like get everything set. They might be rubbing the bar off. They might be moving the bar. They might be cleaning something. You know what I mean? You're patient. You're calm. Make eye contact. They let you know that it's ready. Everybody's relaxed. You go up. You do your lift. You make sure you're confident at lockout. The judges know, all right, this guy really knows what he's doing. So they immediately give you the down command. Whereas if you look crazy, they're going to make you hold it at lockout extra long because you look like a psychopath. So they don't think you know what you're doing. They give you the down command. Hold on to the bar the whole way. Usually when I put the bar down at meets, I still hold on to it for like a second or two afterwards, just to make it clear, like I was holding on it, just to make it clear that I didn't let go of the bar, right? It's another thing that kind of goes into the confidence bowl. You want to just hold that bar. You want to just make it very, like, you had control of the situation. You did it correctly. You want that to be as clear as possible without you saying the words, basically. So that's why I tend to just hold the bar for like a second or two after I let it down. Like I don't want them to be like, oh, like, did you let it go too soon? Did he not really have control of it? Was like a second, if it was a second longer, would he have let go? Like, you don't want them thinking that. You want them thinking like, oh no, he did that fine. Like, held it to the ground, he's still holding it, stood up, walked up, like, that was perfect. Like I said, right? You want them thinking subconsciously, like, did that right, did that right, did that right, yep, locked out, put it down, lift it up, yep, right, white lights, cool, checked off. That's what you want. You don't want to, like, put it down aggressively and immediately let go and walk away, and then you turn around and you got red lighting and you look surprised, you're like, what's going on? And you look like a fucking idiot. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that put it down, you still held on to it, you stood up, you walked off. It's like, alright, cool, right, did that right, yep, white lights, cool, done. And then at that point, hopefully you got 9 white lights on squats, 9 white lights on bench, 9 white lights on deadlifts, 27 white lights, PR total, PR lifts, and it was a great day. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff. If I recall anything, I'll put it in the comments below. Other than that, I hope this helps you guys. Yeah, mainly focus on the confidence things and the preparation things in terms of, just being ready to do what you have to do that day. And that is it. Till next time.